Hello, everybody. My name is Barry Johns. I'd like to welcome you back to another edition of Studio Talk. You know, I've got a video out there talking about whether you should start a for-hire studio or not. But if you're interested in doing that, or you've got one right now, and you really would like to expand your profitability of that business, I think you should add video production to your list of services. Let's get to it. All right. So, obviously, you guys, if you watch this channel, you know I've kind of learned how to do this whole video thing, right? I even started some recent videos I put out there on kind of journaling my YouTube journey, the things I've learned, the mistakes I've made, things like that. Most of you probably won't have an interest in that, but those are you who want to get into doing social media stuff and things like that. It's worth it to go out and do that because there is a lot to learn and you can save a lot of money and a lot of time by learning from my lessons, okay? And so I'm going to continue to shoot those videos. I'm just going to actually shoot a couple more of those today and probably put those out over the next couple of days. But it got me thinking, you know, I really had to go through a lot of learning to be able to know how to do this. You know, I've got videos out there talking about camera, you know, buying the right camera and pairing them up with the right lens, understanding the importance of lighting. It's so critical. Getting those two things down. You know, next up, I'm going to do one on exposure and understanding how to do that for video and how important that is. Those are kind of the foundational videos, and then I'll go into everything else, including monetization and things like that. But that's not what this video is about. But the bottom line is, I had to learn how to do all of this stuff, and what I've learned now, having learned what I've learned, is it's like anything else. The initial learning curve is pretty steep, but once you get over it, it becomes so much easier, so much easier. Okay, so Barry, why in the world would I want to get into video if I'm already into this? I'm just trying to get better at audio. Well, first of all, you're always going to be trying to get better at these things, and if you're not, then I'd say your priorities are not in check properly, okay? So we're always wanting to get better and improve our skill set. That should be a never-ending journey. So I get that little footnote out of the side. Now, you know, I think one of the reasons why you may want to do this and consider this is, and especially if you haven't actually started a for-hire studio yet and you're looking into doing that, there's not as much opportunities to make money doing that as there used to be back in the day. Studios here in the United States have been going out of business right and left over the last 10, 15 years. They're almost non-existent for the most part. And the ones that still exist today, they're established studios. They've been around for a long time, got a reputation. And that's really, really important at every market. But still, you know, most of those guys and gals are diversifying themselves. You know, they're not just doing mixing, and they're not just doing tracking. They're getting into mastering for people. They're getting into doing work on the side for live sound production, things of that nature, and diversifying to keep themselves busy and active and engage with the potential customers. Diversifying your skill set as much as possible is really key to surviving in that today. You know, there's even one local studio here where the guy's trying to get people in to come in and teach recording into his, and I think that's a great idea to try to do that. I think when people can get firsthand experience, especially tracking drums. So I think when you look at these things, you got to look and see where is the opportunity, because if you're just going out and starting a for-hire studio, the odds of you making much money doing that is going to be slim to none. It's just really hard, guys. I mean, because the studios have been going out of business, there's less and less demand because we can do all of this amazing stuff right in our homes, you know, and produce just as good a quality stuff right out of our bedrooms as you can going into these for-hire studios for the most part. But you know, there's a lot of overhead, all right? You've got utilities, you've got insurance, you've got equipment repair, you've got all the other, there's just so many things. I could keep going on and on and on about all that overhead, your lease on your space and things like that. All these things add up to a lot. So, you know, yeah, you may be charging $50 an hour and that may sound like a lot of money to you, but when you're actually shelling out and paying for all the things that are behind the scenes and you see how much you've got left, you probably just barely work for a little over minimum wage, you know, and so So that's just a hardcore reality unless you're fully established. But even the most established studios today are struggling keeping cash flow coming in, and they're all learning that they have to diversify. So let's talk about that diversification. Okay, I talked about it before. If you're doing mixing and tracking as well as potentially mastering, and then you add a service as an example, like you do live sound reinforcement. To get out there and do live sound work, keeping yourself diversified. I think if someone's coming to a studio and they want to be able to create music, right? Well, the way people consume that today is all visual. I mean, a lot of people are using Facebook, they're using YouTube, they're using TikTok, they're using Instagram. All of these things to get their music out there. And sadly, for a lot of these folks, they're just using cell phone video, and that's not capturing the energy, the excitement, everything that's needed to properly put that music out there in the proper context. Now, I've talked about on this channel before, I've got a detached garage here at the house that I plan to turn into a tracking room. And so that's one of the things that guided some recent decisions of mine to be able to do that stuff over a long distance in a networked sense, okay? Whether that's AVB, Dante, or Maddie, regardless of those things, it gives you the ability to do long throws and do connections from far away. So anyway, I plan on doing that. Now, because I've got varied experience doing different types of video work, I know how to do green screen stuff. So I know how to properly set that up and do that. I've got quite a bit of experience doing that. And so what I plan to do, I've already got several gallons of that paint already. They make a specific paint designed for painting walls and surfaces in the right shade of green to do proper and effective green screening where you can key all of that out. And so I'm going to paint all of the walls, the ceilings, and the floor all in that color. So then I can use that space and track in it perfectly fine, right? But then move things out of the way when I need to. If I'm doing video production, and I can put a whole band in there and do multicam work and do tons of really cool and killer videography for the music that I've recorded for them. And so that is something that I plan to do because now I have the knowledge and understanding of how to do that. Now, like anything else, you've got to get over that hump. Just like learning all of this was not easy for you. It took you time, but once you got there, things started to come together faster and faster. Much is the same way it is with video, okay? Once you watch my other videos and learn from the mistakes I made and don't make any of those mistakes, your journey can be a lot faster when you get the right camera, the right lens out of the gate. You know how to do your lighting right. You've bought the right lighting pieces, okay? You've got a way to record your audio separately, things like that. You've invested in a decent shotgun mic. So all of these things come into play. Now, once you have this stuff, you learn how to use it. You learn how to edit. All that stuff seems daunting and overwhelming at first, but I promise you, it doesn't take more than a few months to get the fundamentals down, okay? To get that foundation down, and then you can just start building blocks. And those just come with time, over time, okay? And so it doesn't take that long, but you got to be willing to do the work. So I think that's an ultimate way to diversify your potential studio is to get into video production as well as audio. If you have the technical mindset to understand everything that it takes to do all of this and all of the dynamics and everything, especially in a modern studio, then you're going to have the technical ability to jump in and do the video. You just have to be willing to do what? The work, okay? So if you're willing to do the work, I think there's great opportunity out there, and I think it's probably something you should pursue. Because hiring a videographer to do multicam videography work is expensive. Finding the location, the time, all of this stuff gets super, super expensive. If you've got a space you can do that in that's properly set up, that doesn't require as much time, okay, you can do that for a lot less. And then now that becomes another opportunity for income for your multimedia facility, because I think that if there is potential future for recording studios to stay alive, I think they have to be full-on multimedia type experiences where you can get in there and do it all. Maybe you want to set up a separate booth somewhere to where somebody can come in and just do a vocal take, and that's it, where you've got a collection of good mics and good mic pre's, and you've got a properly treated space for them to go in. Maybe they don't want to do it at their house. Maybe they've done everything at their house, and they come to your studio. They go straight in there, bam, they're out of the way. You could even set up everything they need is in there where it's all on their own and requires none of your time, and they can sit in there and do their tracks, and maybe you charge by the hour for that service. There's all kinds of creative ways to be able to do this, but then you have to learn the marketing side of this as well. So I think you should seriously consider this if you want to seriously consider having a for-hire studio, because to make that succeed today, it's got to be beyond just tracking and mixing, okay? That's just a hard code reality for the majority. Now, like anything else, there's always exceptions to that, but that is certainly not the norm, okay? So that's my advice for you today. If you like the things I talk about in this channel, do me a favor, hit that like button, that subscribe button, then that notification bell so you know when I got a new video out. I appreciate that very much. I appreciate your support. Next month is my 1 year anniversary from a year ago, just almost a year ago. I started this particular channel. It's grown pretty fast. I've been very pleased with that, and I want to thank all of you for that. So until next time, I hope every one of you have a great day, all right? Now go out and learn to shoot some video, okay? Get her done.